I might be the biggest Nuggets glazer on the planet. Like, if you just look at this, you can already tell that's a lot of glaze. But, I mean, we have this. I mean, I might be even a Jokic glazer. And for a very good reason. I like Denver football teams. I have this guy. This is what is used when you want to take your anger out on something when your team throws an interception, doesn't score a touchdown, or loses these games. And then you can just do this every single day, or I guess Sunday. And I also have plenty of Broncos jerseys as well as a Broncos hat. And if you look on my bed over there, it's clearly decorated with some Broncos stuff. I don't really talk about sports teams that much. I don't really like to touch on that. I mean, you can clearly see on my subscriptions that I am subscribed to plenty of sports teams, like the Broncos and the Nuggets, primarily Denver teams. I don't really know how I got into Denver teams. Well, I kind of do actually. A holy contradiction. I think it was 10 years ago when the Broncos won the Super Bowl that I started liking the Broncos, and then I don't know, but I think that the Denver Nuggets could win a championship and that everyone is overlooking Nikola Jokic. Now, I'm not trying to persuade you into saying, oh, Nikola Jokic should be MVP, because no, he's won like, what, 3 MVPs? And Wemby and SGA haven't combined won that many MVPs. Most likely because SGA has the MVP from last year. I think it was SGA. I'm not really sure. Not really that much into basketball. Like I don't like memorize it, but I think both Wemby and SGA could qualify for MVP. It's between those two since Luka is out for the rest of the regular season and the Lakers won't get far in the playoffs. But I think Nikola Jokic is becoming his prime again. Like he's really tapped into his prime, and it's not just me saying because I'm a Nuggets glazer, as you can see. But there's a lot like the past couple of games I watched from Denver have been extremely spectacular. The most spectacular being that game against the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday. Because that was the pivotal moment that we all knew that the Denver Nuggets could certainly win the NBA championship this year, over the Spurs and the Thunder. I like to say this all really started when Nikola Jokic got injured.
It's a 21-point first half for a guy that already has 2 games better than 50 points this year. Haken. Kalau put it in softly with 3 seconds left in the half.
And Jokic is down. Jokic took a shot in that left knee area, and he is really in pain right now. The whole bench up on the Nuggets side.
A weird way for the first half to end here in Miami. All of Mile High Denver right now holding their breath.
If you guys didn't see that was December 29th, I believe. Nikola Jokic had a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise in his knee. It was he like stepped on his team. It was like one of his teammates like stepped on his ankle and his knee like buckled. It was like this and it went like that, or almost. And then he fell. He was like holding his leg and he was in pain. And I think a lot of Denver people got pretty like scared. I mean, I probably would have too, but the fact that, that wasn't a muscle tear, I was like relieved, because usually knee injuries like that turn out to be season-ending muscle tears. We've seen that a lot in sports. You see it in football, like Mahomes got the ACL tear, and then even this year, last year in the NBA, Tyrese Halliburton had the tear. Well, I guess it wasn't a knee. I think he tore his Achilles. Maybe it was his knee. I can't remember. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not that memorized in the NBA. Like I can memorize every single thing ever. But a lot of knee injuries happen in sports to where they're tears. They're like downright muscle tears. Like your knee muscle just tears apart. And his regular season's over. Yeah, he's not becoming the MVP this year. We'll have to wait till next year. And it's like a what if story. Obviously Damian Lillard had a knee injury, and he's not coming back till October of 2026. But back to Jokic though, he I think he was only out for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. No, I'm not exactly. It was late, really late December, so he came back in like January. But even then, the Nuggets were still just astounding without him because they were still went like what 10-6 without him only, and they were doing pretty well. I mean, Jamal Murray really went up there and he started scoring like crazy, and even Aaron Gordon was out during that time too, and they were still doing well. And then Jokic comes back and they just start going. They start going. Ooh, they start getting real good. Like they went against the reigning champions OKC, and that literally went into overtime. That's how good of a team the Denver Nuggets can really be. And if you think about it, I think the Nuggets could really be a championship team because of this. Like they even without most of their stars, they don't collapse and fall apart like other teams. Like Warriors is a good example of like when one of their superstars gets injured, they just go. Because when Steph Curry was injured, they just went. They started losing a whole bunch. Now they're 36-42 this late in the season, and they have to go into a play-in tournament just to be in the playoffs. Like I don't really think the Warriors are gonna get really much far into this season. As I don't even know if they'll even get past the play-in tournament. I'm not sure. Steph did come back though, and they took a loss against the Rockets, who are a really good team. But in all certainty, like the Warriors are just one example. Bucks could be another, since Giannis has been out for a lot of the season, most of it, and the Bucks have just gone terrible without him. They've been losing. They were definitely one of the worst teams this season, and Pacers were just affected horribly from Tyrese. They had a horrible season. Like I don't even know if they even have 20 wins in the season, let alone 30 wins. They have over 50 losses. They might even have 60 losses. Like this team is falling apart just because one guy got hurt, and that kind of gets into that's why you need to have more than one superstar on your team, so then it doesn't crumble. But even then, you need all the guys need to like lock in when someone the superstar of a team gets injured, and that's what the Nuggets did. They didn't let Jokic's injury like collapse the team and lead to a whole bunch of losses. They let this injury, they used it and just went up. Like they started beating all sorts of teams, and like I think the only problem with the Nuggets now is their defense. I just think their defense just keeps digging them in holes that they have to, dig themselves out of. Because, last night against the Trailblazers, they were down most of that game to the Trailblazers, who have 10 more losses than them. And some guy like Kamara or something had like 30 points that game. At one point, they were down 72-58 halftime, and then came all the way back, forced overtime, and won that game. But now, I think we should talk about that Spurs game on Saturday, last Saturday, because that game was pretty important in making this video. It's actually the game where they wore this jersey right here. If you guys don't know what this is, these are like the NBA Team City Edition jerseys. They kind of highlight, the cities that the team's playing. So for Denver, they had this one last year. Denver is 5,280 feet above sea levels, and so they had that written on like the front here, and you have like the mountains here, and then this is supposed to be like a sunset, I believe. And then with this one, you have that sunset again. This is a really iconic design. Like I think they wore this in the 90s or something. They have the sunset, the mountains, and the city skyline. It's pretty cool. So they wore that on Saturday against the Spurs, who. Let's get into Spurs real quick. The Spurs this year are dangerous. This is a team where they win, and they're upwards of 60 wins. They probably have 60 wins by the time you're watching this video. But the Spurs are a really, really dangerous team. Like, you have to play real good in order to beat them. And so with a team like that, and you have this Nuggets team who's they have an MVP in Nikola Jokic, so it's like it's like a super showdown between three-time MVP, averages a triple-double a season, Nikola Jokic, against the best defender in the league, one of the tallest players in the league, Victor Wembanyama, and they clash, and that results in one of my favorite NBA games of the season, in terms of just, it was pure cinema. This was a great game from start to finish. Went to overtime. Both guys are playing their hearts out. Eventually, the Denver Nuggets won with a near triple-double from Nikola Jokic, 40 points from Jokic. Nuggets were actually down most of that game. It was a crucial from Jokic. He had actually 0 turnovers against Victor Wembanyama. I'm not lying. If I was lying, that would be pretty dumb of me. But Nikola Jokic had 0 turnovers against Victor Wembanyama. 0 turnovers, and which that is a impossible stat to have, because Wembanyama seemed so like Wembanyama was towering over Jokic. I don't know how Jokic didn't have at least 1 turnover against the best defender in the league, in my opinion. But if you have 0 turnovers against Victor Wembanyama, you're a dangerous player. And Jokic, he just played absolute greatness in that game. Like, he showed he was the true MVP. He might not have a physical award this year, but for the Nuggets, he's their MVP. And that's going to remain unchanged for years to come. Even Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, they were both just on fire that game. I think when at one point Murray had a 53-point game a couple weeks ago. I think it was against either the Suns or the Mavericks. But again, flashing back to their defense, going back to that defense, I think the only thing Nuggets need to work on is that defense. If they can get this defense to a level of their offenses, I think they can be a championship contender. And I see a lot of their scores, and I get really worried, because I think they're going to lose because they're down by so much, because their defense keeps failing them and they keep allowing points. Like, they allowed the Trailblazers to almost destroy them when they had actually beaten the Trailblazers by 54 points a couple months ago, during spring break, I believe. I think it was sometime in March. But I think the Nuggets can be a real championship contender if they, if their defense gets a little bit better, and their offense keeps flying high. And as long as they have that offense, I think they can successfully dig themselves out of the endless holes that they keep digging in. So yeah, I think, in conclusion, I think the Nuggets are a great team right now, dangerous team, a team that is definitely playoff bound, and a team that could certainly win the NBA championship this year. And I think Nikola Jokic could certainly be in the MVP this year, even though I think it's going to be either Victor Wembanyama or SGA. I think the Nuggets are still going to be a great team in the future. And also, the only reason why I'm posting this video is because I haven't posted in 2 weeks.